They say every nation has a moment when everything it stands for, its freedom, its unity, its very soul, hangs by a thread. For the United States, that moment came in the summer of 1863, in a small Pennsylvania town few had ever heard of, Gettysburg. By then, the Civil War had raged for more than 2 years. The country was torn apart, the Union was weary, its armies bleeding, its people divided, its cause uncertain. Meanwhile, the Confederacy, led by the legendary General Robert E. Lee, had won victory after victory in the South. Now, Lee was ready for one final daring gamble to invade the North. If he could crush the Union Army on its own soil, perhaps the North would lose the will to fight, and the Confederacy would stand as an independent nation. And so, in June 1863, Lee's army crossed into Pennsylvania, 75,000 strong, confident, and unbroken. What began as a march for Southern glory would soon become a nightmare that neither side would ever forget. On July 1st, Union and Confederate forces accidentally collided near a crossroads town, Gettysburg. Neither side planned to fight there, but once the first shots were fired, destiny took over. What followed would become the largest and bloodiest battle ever fought on American soil. By noon, the rolling hills and quiet farms of Gettysburg erupted into chaos. Cannon fire thundered across the countryside. Musket smoke filled the sky. Men screamed, horses fell, and families hiding in their homes watched their town become a battlefield. That night, thousands lay dead or wounded, and the hills ran red with American blood. On July 2nd, the second day of battle, the fight only grew more desperate. The Union Army, now commanded by General George Meade, fought fiercely to hold its ground. The fields and ridges, places with names like Little Round Top, the Wheat Field, and Devil's Den, became scenes of unimaginable courage and carnage. At Little Round Top, Union soldiers led by Colonel Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain made a last stand that would go down in history, charging with bayonets when they ran out of ammunition, refusing to give an inch. That single act may have saved the entire Union line. By the third day, July 3rd, Lee believed one final strike could break the North. He ordered an all-out assault. Pickett's charge hit across an open mile of farmland toward the center of the Union line. As Confederate soldiers advanced, Union cannons unleashed hell. Smoke, fire, and iron tore through the air. When the shooting stopped, the field was covered with thousands of fallen men. Lee's army had been shattered. The invasion of the North ended. The Battle of Gettysburg was over. More than 51,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, or missing. The town was a graveyard. And yet, amid the horror, something profound had changed. For the first time in years, the North had hope. Lee's army would never recover from the defeat. The tide of the Civil War had turned. Months later, on November 19, 1863, a train arrived in Gettysburg carrying a tall, weary man, President Abraham Lincoln. He came to dedicate a cemetery for the fallen. His speech was just 2 minutes long, but it became immortal. Lincoln spoke of a new birth of freedom, of a government of the people, by the people, for the people. He reminded a broken nation why those men had died, not for power, not for revenge, but so that liberty might live. Gettysburg was more than a battle. It was the moment when America looked into the mirror of its own destruction and chose to survive. It was where the United States proved that freedom is not inherited. It is earned again and again through sacrifice. So when we ask, what battle changed America's destiny forever? It wasn't fought overseas. It was fought here, between Americans, for the meaning of America itself. This was Gettysburg, the day America nearly died, and the day it was reborn. Subscribe now.